Team, keep it clean. What is going on? Welcome to another episode of the Team Keep It Clean podcast. I guess I got a lot of energy. I was a little bit tired. If you would have asked me about an hour and a half ago, if we would have been doing the podcast tonight, I would have been like, no, I'm about to go to sleep or something. Because right now it's 11:14. When I'm recording this, it's Sunday, April 18th. And we are literally fresh off of, we just ended a live stream with a new segment on the main channel, but we'll talk about that in a little bit. Before we get into that, let's give a big shout out to our sponsor, which is Manscaped. Shout out to Manscaped. If you want to go get your own Manscaped, go get your lawnmower 3.0, the new and improved, because they had the lawnmower, then they had the lawnmower 2.0, then they upped that to the lawnmower 3.0. So again, y'all know it's Team Keep It Clean over, but if you want to keep it extra clean, then you can go to manscaped.com, and the code that you use is Keep It Clean. Well, I almost said Team Keep It Clean. The code you use is Keep It Clean, all together, all one word. And when you use that code, you'll get 20% off plus free shipping. So they'll send it to you for free. You don't have to pay that, because you know shipping, those shipping costs will make whatever you buy go up. And because it would have been one thing if it was just the 20% off. If it was the 20% off, that would have actually sort of eliminated the shipping costs and a little bit more. But with the code Keep It Clean, you get 20% off your order, off your entire order, and you get free shipping. So you get a double whammy. So use code Keep It Clean at manscaped.com, and they will take care of you. Now, like I said, we are fresh off, like literally fresh off. We just ended the stream a couple minutes ago. We are fresh off of a new segment that we have implemented on the main channel called Get It Off Your Chest. And this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while, man. Like, and this is why I don't talk about a lot of the things that I want to do out loud. Because I don't talk about a lot of things that I want to do on the channel until I actually do them. Because I don't want to set an expectation for something that just doesn't happen. I don't want to do that. And it's something that I talked about on here before too, with not setting crazy expectations when you first start something. Because when you first start something new, it's exciting, and it's you're just hyped over. You're like, oh man, I want to do this, I want to do that, I want to do it like this. And then a lot of times when people do that, stuff just falls through. It falls through, it falls apart. You can't meet those expectations. They're unrealistic expectations. And I mean, so you got to be real with yourself. And me, I've learned that the hard way over time, to not set crazy expectations. And even if the expectations are nothing too crazy, I just got to be realistic. So, but this is something that I have been wanting to do ever since, I think a little before last season. I wanted to do this, but I just never ended up doing it. But hey, we're here now. We're here now. And it was just a segment to where it allowed Ravens fans and just Team Keep It Clean to, again, get it off their chest. Whatever, any gripes that they may have with the Ravens, with the team, with personnel, with players, with coaches, with even other Ravens fans, like with stuff that Ravens fans may be saying about the Ravens that they don't agree with or whatnot, with the draft coming up soon. Like, everybody has a lot to say. So this, get it off your chest. I had a lot of fun. We had a lot of fun. It was a great response. And it just, I loved it. So I'm excited to see where that goes, man. I'm very excited to see where that goes. And to see what happens with it. Just something new, something different. And yeah, it's going to be a good time, man. And it's crazy because right now, I would have never thought that this would be the case, but right now, I'm at a point to where, and it's crazy, and I know we still got a lot of work to do on them, but I am very happy and like with how they've been, like, I guess, turning out. But I am at a point to where I'll be ready to stream, and I'll have everything set up but I'll be working on the thumbnail, and that's like it's a good feeling, man, because I think we've been doing the thumbnails for maybe a little over a week, I want to say, something like that, and it's fun, man. It's fun. Let me see when we first started, because it hasn't been too long. It really hasn't. Let me see. Yeah, the first thumbnail we did was 12 days ago. So it's been a little over a week. It's been about a week and a half. So it's 12 days. So it's been about 2 weeks, really. So 12 days ago. So that's when we started. So that's pretty cool, man. But the fact that they've been coming together, pretty good. Some I like better than others, but I just like that I can, because sometimes when I would be doing my thumbnails, well, really wouldn't even be a thumbnail. It'd just be me taking a picture of myself. But when I would be doing that, I would have these ideas. Like, man, I know I ain't put anything crazy for a thumbnail yet, or no crazy idea, anything like that. But I would have these ideas for stuff that I would think about. Oh, what if the thumbnail had this? Or what if it had that? Now I can work on actually putting that in my own thumbnails, and I'm very, very proud of that, man. Because that was also something that I have been wanting to work on for a long time, a very long time. Because, I mean, now things are, I mean, the channel ain't super big, but things have still been moving and stuff and going without the thumbnails and whatnot. But I just felt like I said before a couple weeks ago on the podcast, that always try to find ways to get better at whatever it is that you do. And I feel like for me, with the thumbnails, it would be a way for me to try to get better. So it was cool, man. It was super cool and fun to like go through the process of doing that, and to do it without Photoshop. But and I know Photoshop, if you pay for it, that's like your thumbnail is gonna be something serious. But I'm trying to find a way where they could be something serious where I don't have to pay for that and I could use what I use. And anyway, so yeah, man. Today is Sunday, April 18th when I'm recording this. I've been doing a lot of cleaning up over the past couple of days. While I've been cleaning up, I have been listening to the Huddle and Flow podcast with Steve Weish and I called him Jeremiah Trotter earlier, but it's not Jeremiah Trotter. I think it's Jay Trotter. I forgot what Steve Weish co-host name is. But Steve Weish is an NFL reporter, analyst. He's been around the NFL for a long time. So got a lot of connections, got a lot of friends there and whatnot. But they do the podcast called Huddle and Flow. One of my good friends, he actually put me on to it. He had let me know about it. And because I didn't even know that. I didn't even know about it. I had heard, the only thing I knew about it was the clip, the whole David Culley clip that was going around where he was talking about Ravens offense and Lamar Jackson. He could make all the throws, blah, blah, blah. But that's all I knew about it. But my boy, he put me on to it and whatnot. So I re-downloaded Apple Podcasts, the app on my phone, because I had deleted it because I didn't really listen to any podcasts. The only podcast I listened to would be something that would be on YouTube, but actually from Apple Podcasts, I didn't use it at all. But now I do. So I listened to that. I subscribed to my guy Kevin Ostreakers to his podcast. I gotta get him on a channel one day. I do, but I don't know if he's with the video and all that. But anyway, so yeah, I was listening to a bunch of their podcasts and stuff, and it's crazy because I listened to them. They had an interview with Jalen Ramsey. That one was really good. They had an interview with Jameis Winston. That one was really good. They had an interview with Justin Jefferson. That one was really good. So I'm listening to all these really good interviews and stuff. I'm like, man, these guys, they are on point, man. They are on point. But then they were getting ready to interview the Bills GM. And I was thinking like, okay. I think it's Brandon Beane. Let me look it up real quick. Cause you know how like when you think about something and you want to look it up to confirm. Yeah, Brandon Beane. So there was a podcast where he was coming up, where they were going to interview him, And I was thinking like, this is getting ready to be pretty boring. Because they're going to be talking to a GM like, no. But I still listened to it, and it was really, really good. It was really, really, I loved it, man. So I really had to go into it. Well, I didn't go into it with the mindset of, oh man, this could be exciting. I went into it expecting it to be boring, but it ended up being really, really good. But then they interviewed Steph Curry. And for his interview, like, it was the exact opposite. I went into that thinking, oh, this is going to be really exciting. And that one, I had to turn it off because I was just like, oh boy, this is, I'm not enjoying this. And again, to each his own. I know that there'd be people that will say the same thing about me. Like, man, Ingravenvids, his stuff is boring. His podcast is boring. His video is boring. They say the same stuff about me. So everybody, they're entitled to their own opinion, and not everything's not for everybody. That's the best way to put it. Everything is not for everybody. That interview, the one they did with Steph Curry, not for me. But the rest of them, they were all fire. And I really like their podcast a lot, man. But today, I had went to the store. And those of y'all that follow on Instagram, my Instagram is Ingravenvids. But those of y'all that follow on Instagram, y'all saw it. Where I was cleaning up, and there was this, I had this bag of trash, and there was like this rock on top of it. But the rock, I didn't remember throwing that rock on top of the bag of trash. So I looked at the rock, and I was like, I was looking at it from a little distance, and I was like, I don't remember that rock being there. I really don't. And why would I leave this big rock on the outside of the trash? So then I threw a rock at the rock. I didn't hit it. But it came close. It like made contact with the bag, but the bigger rock just stayed there. So I said, So then I sort of moved the bag a little bit, just to make sure that this rock was a rock. And this rock ended up being a big frog. And I was like, oh, so I did that quick little jump back where you realize that this something is a living something, and it's something that you don't mess with. You don't mess with no frogs, man. Like sometimes tiny frogs, it doesn't happen very often, but sometimes the tiny frogs, they will get, like, if we open a door, like these, it seems like some of these frogs, they be sitting outside just waiting. Like, man, let me in. Like, it really seems like that sometimes. Some of these frogs will be sitting outside waiting, because I don't even see when they jump. Well, I've seen when one has jumped in, but other than that, like, we've had a couple of like tiny frogs jump in, like the ones that are like a little bigger than like the size of a quarter. Well, that's their width or whatever. Obviously, a little taller than a quarter, but that's about how big they are, about the size of a quarter. Those are tiny frogs. They jumped in a couple of times, and I've caught them. I get 2 plastic cups and just trap them in there, and then throw them back outside. So those, no problem. The only thing annoying about them is them hopping. Like them frogs, they hop, man. Like, I know we see it on the cartoons and stuff, but those things, they hop. But this was not a little frog. This was a big frog. A big, thick, fat frog. And I was like, man, like, no, I'm not going to touch him. I'm not touching him. And it's the weirdest thing too, man, because, and this is, I mean, some of y'all may feel different. It's like, man, these frogs, so much smaller than us, or than me in this situation, so much smaller than me, obviously not as strong as me, but this frog can instill fear in me, and where I don't want to mess with him. And don't want to touch him, don't want him to hop near me, don't want him to come near me, don't want him to be nowhere by me, man. And it's like the weirdest thing when you think about it. Like, you have so much power over this thing, but this thing is like, he's winning over you right now. Because he instilled that fear in you. I'm like, oh, well, okay, I guess I'm scared of it. But anyway, I was looking at the frog, it was just sitting there. So I went, got a water hose, started spraying it. Nothing. It was not moving. Not moving at all. And then I looked and I saw that the frog, it actually had a gash on the top of his head. Had a gash on the top of his head. I was like, oh, I don't know where that came from. Guess he must have been into like a little fight before he got here. So with that gash, the frog, he was just sitting on a bag. I'm like, I sprayed him. He wasn't moving. So some people that watched the story, they told me, hey, if you use salt, then that'll get him next time. And I was like, hopefully it won't be no next time. But living in Florida, yeah, there's a lot of wildlife down here. So unfortunately, I think it probably will be next time. Hopefully it won't, but you never know. But anyway, so I was spraying him with water, nothing. So then I went to a different angle and started spraying his side with water. Spraying. Then he finally moved. I was like, yes, thank you. He finally moved. So then he was just standing there again. And then I noticed that his gash, the blood, it was flowing even more. No, not flowing. It was just coming out a little bit more. And it was like the gash, it went from where the blood was just on top of his head to being it started running like down his back. And that happened, and then he just ended up hopping away. And it was weird too, because he did end up hopping away, but I turned my, what was I doing? Oh, I had meeting. That's what it was. I had meeting because it was Sunday morning, and I had to get ready for meeting. Went to meeting, and I came out real quick during meeting to see where the frog was at, and he was gone, or he or she. They were gone, and I was glad that they were gone. But at the same time, I was like, "Oh man, I don't know exactly where they went, so I ain't gonna celebrate too much because I would love to know, like, just for peace of mind, I would have loved to know, like, okay, this frog, it ended up, he went here, or they went here, they hopped over here. Like, if I would have known, like, the frog, if I would have known the whereabouts of where it went, like, if it hopped into the neighbors, and it went to the neighbor's house or something, I'd be like, okay, cool. If it went out in the street, if it went out wherever, I would have liked to know that, but I didn't ever get to see that because I didn't see the frog again, which I wasn't complaining, but just for my peace of mind. So because for a little tiny bit, when I first went back out there, I was like looking around and I was thinking, oh boy, is this thing gonna pop up out of nowhere? Then I saw a fat lizard. I'm like, oh man, that's the frog's cousin. He probably coming looking for his cousin. Like, hey, what happened to him? I know you know something. That's how I felt like the lizard was looking at me. But I was just like, oof, I don't know. So that happened. But yeah, I didn't see it at all after that anymore. Now, so then it's like that the day was already interesting enough because of that frog. But nope, the day just had to one up itself. It had to one up itself. So I went to the store, and when I went to the store, I got there, and I went and picked up I grabbed the shopping cart. So when I grabbed the shopping cart, I looked inside, of the shopping cart, and there was a black pocketbook in there. And I was like, oh boy. So I looked at it, and this was like, I'm explaining it slowly, but the thought process was a lot faster than the way that I'm explaining it, because it had to be. It really had to be. And the reason I say that is because when I saw the pocketbook, so I looked at it and I was like, what should I do? Should I pick this thing up, or should I just leave it and maybe they'll come back for it, but at the same time, maybe they won't. And maybe they might not know. And then maybe if that pocketbook gets into the wrong person's hands, then it could be bad. But that all took about like 2-3 seconds to all process in my head. But also, so I picked it up, and then I thought about, this is another 2 to 3 seconds. Then I thought about, where should I take this? Should I talk to somebody out here, or should I just take it inside to the store? So I decided, I said, you know what? I'm not gonna have this thing out here, because what if the person whose pocketbook it is, what if they see me with the pocketbook, and because they don't know what my perspective on this whole thing is. They won't know that I just found this. Well, it's a possibility that they won't know that I just found this. It's a possibility. A lot of things could go through their head because their pocketbook is missing. And they could think the wrong thing. Even though they left their pocketbook in that shopping cart, they could think, maybe when I was in the store, maybe this guy stole this pocketbook from me. Maybe he stole it from me, and then they could cause a scene. They could call the police. They could do this. They could do that. And things, I was like, no, we're not going through that. We're not about to do that, man. Because again, this day and age, how things are, and I mean, not even just because of this day and age, because if I say, for instance, I'm thinking if it was me, say for instance, if I lost my phone or something, or I lost my wallet or something, and then I go try to retrace my steps and go to where I think that I left it, and if I get to one of the places where I think I left it and I see somebody holding it in their hand, a lot of stuff could go through my mind right then and there. I could think, oh, they stole it. I could think, oh, they found it. I could think, oh, what are they doing with that? I could think, oh, are they about to try to really okie doke me? I could think a lot of stuff, and it will probably be more negative than positive if somebody's sitting there holding my wallet or holding something of mine that I lost. So I didn't want somebody to go through that with me. So I walked inside into the store, and I took it to their customer service. And the cashier, she was like, "Oh, God bless you, God bless you." She's like, "Oh, something really good's gonna happen to you." She's like, "You're a great person." And I told her, I said, "No, I ain't nobody. I ain't nothing special." And she's like, "Oh, something good's gonna happen to you." And I was like, "Nah." I said, "It's okay, man. It's okay." But I also thought about too, like, man, what if because I did look inside to see if it had, if there was an ID in there, and there was an ID in there. So the ID obviously has the person's name, has the address and stuff. So I thought about, what if I drove to their house and just took it to them? But that thought, it came in and went out so fast, and I was just like, nope. Because if, again, you don't know what people are thinking. If some random person, some just random person that you don't know, you have no affiliation with, nobody told you that they were coming, they're not DoorDash or Uber Eats or any of that stuff. Some random person shows up to your house unannounced, especially these days, man. And if this would have been like a year ago too, and when the whole lockdown thing first started, because they had people out there doing scams, because it sucks how people are. People try to find a way to take advantage of people through everything. But there was people out there doing scams and stuff, and I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. Like, that would be a last resort. Like, if I would have found it, if it was in a parking lot, say for instance, it was in like a parking lot or something. Oh, even if it was in a parking lot, I probably wouldn't even picked it up. But in some rare case, if I actually did pick it up, if it was in a parking lot, that would be one instance where I may look up the address. And if it's close, then possibly go drop it off at the house. See, then that's where things get tricky at too, because one, what if they're not home and I just want to drop it off? Two, what if somebody's watching me when I pick it up and they're trying to set me up? Three, what if I get to what if I get to quote unquote where they live, and what if it's an old address on their ID? So it's just, finding like pocketbooks like that, that's stuff that you only see in the movies. And in the movies, they always had that thing where it's either a pocketbook or an envelope. You know, the envelope that got all the cash in them. And then every time you watch one of those, at least for me, every time I watch one of those movies, I always envision myself in that situation. Like, man, what if I found all that cash and it ain't have no name on it? Like, all of that cash just sitting there with no name. Sometimes in the movies, sometimes they take it to the police. Sometimes they don't. I feel like if you take it to the police, they just going to end up spending it anyway. They're going to be like, oh, we'll take that in for evidence. They probably divvy it up amongst each other. But anyway, there were a lot of things that went through my head in that short period of time when I did pick it up. And I wanted to avoid all crazy and potentially bad situations. So that's why I said I just took it to customer service, man. Yeah, so be like, okay, that's not mine. I'm done with it. Get it out of here. I don't want anything to do with it. So that was that. So yeah, man, that was something. That frog though, man. That frog was, no, man. I'm about to look at it right now, as a matter of fact. That frog. That frog. I hope he or she is all right. I hope he or she is like in the water or something. Or with their family or something. Cause I don't know. And I think like this frog, I don't know if like I don't think they were maggots. No, they weren't maggots, because maggots are too they're very small. There was some like the frog was on the bag of trash, and there were these 3 bugs that were with the frog too. And I don't know what they were. So anyway, that was that, man. Whew. But team, keep it clean. I appreciate y'all listening. It's kind of cool to get the podcast done early, because I know the past 2 weeks when it's been podcast time, I've been doing them the day of. But this is nice to go into the week. Podcast already done. Obviously, y'all gonna hear all this on Wednesday, but this is cool. I do want to. Nope. See, not even gonna talk about it, because if I talk about it, nope. Not set no crazy expectation, but it is some stuff that I want to do with the podcast just to spruce it up a bit. But if I do it, I do it. If I don't, I just get to it later. Anyway, appreciate y'all. I love y'all. Thank you for listening. Thank you for supporting. Just thank you for everything, man. I really do sincerely appreciate it. And I'll holler at y'all next time. We out.